In our previous lesson, we learned how to conjugate the verb abrir. And we said that the verb abrir, or to open, belongs to the group of verbs that end in ir. And we also said that it is a regular verb. So, although we have three different rules for conjugating verbs, the rule for the verbs, for the group of verbs that end in ar, the one for the group of verbs that ends in er, and another rule for conjugating those verbs that end in ir, like this one. So, abrir is a regular verb, so this form of conjugating applies to all the regular verbs that end in ir, okay? And now I will show you another regular verb of the group of verbs that end in ir. The verb we will see today is the verb vivir, that means to live. Okay? Let's write vivir. Vivir. This means to live. Okay? So, if vivir is also a regular verb, then we should be able to recycle the same ending for all these conjugations, right? So let's do it. Here, the root of the verb vivir would be this, okay? Viv. So take a look. Here, we were using the root of the verb abrir, abr, right? Remember that the root is the first part of the verb stripping out the ending, right? We have the ending can be ar, er, or ir, yes? So, if we change this root and we use the root of the verb vivir, or to live, we add the ending o, and we have vivo. Yo vivo, I live. Same thing here. This is the ending, right? So this would be vives. Tú vives. You live. Él, ella. So this is the ending, right? Let's replace the root of the verb abrir for the root of the verb vivir that we want to conjugate now. Vive. Él, ella vive, or he, she lives. Same thing here. The ending is imos, right? And this is the root of the verb abrir, right? So let's replace the root of the verb abrir for the root of the verb vivir. And we have nosotros vivimos. We live. Let's do the same thing with the others. That's the ending that will repeat for all the verbs. Vosotros vivís. You live. You plural. Here, this is the ending. Ustedes viven. Also, you live, but this is used in Latin America. And they, or ellos, viven. Right? So here we have the verb vivir, or to live, conjugated in the present tense. Right? Let's do the past. So again, this is the ending that remains the same for all the regular verbs of the group of verbs that end in ir, right? Let's replace the root of the previous verb we were using. Now let's write the root of the verb we are conjugating now, and we have yo viví. I lived. Past, okay? Simple past. Yo. This is first person. Yo, I. So this is the ending, right? Sorry. Here. Let's strip out the root. Let's change it for viv. And we have tu viviste. You lived. And let's do the same with the other persons. Okay? Vivió. So, tú viviste, él vivió. Right? Nosotros vivimos. Right? And let's change this as well. Sorry, here I deleted something. I should not. Viv, viv, and viv. Okay, so yo viví, tú viviste, él vivió. Nosotros vivimos, vosotros vivisteis. Ustedes vivieron, ellos vivieron. That's a simple past for the verb vivir, to live. Let's do future number 1, okay? The one that's similar to the English. So, in this case, as we said, the auxiliary verb remains the same for all the verbs we want to conjugate. So we only change here the verb in infinitive, right? Same thing as in English. When we say I will run, I will do, I will jump, the verb will remains the same and only the verb in infinitive changes, okay? Same thing here. Here we write vivir, 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 and vivir, and vivir. Yes? So, yo voy a vivir, I will live. Tú vas a vivir, él va a vivir. Nosotros vamos a vivir, vosotros vais a vivir, ustedes van a vivir, and ellos van a vivir. They will live. The other future that we have here, we'll do the same thing as with present and past. We'll recycle the ending, right? And we'll just replace the root of the verb, right? The ending remains the same because we are just we are conjugating a regular verb. So we just change the root of the verb here. For the verb viv, this is the root of the verb vivir, right? So, yo viviré, tú vivirás, él vivirá, for I will live, you will live, he or she will live. Nosotros viviremos, vosotros viviréis, ustedes vivirán, ellos vivirán. Okay? And now, same thing with the imperative tense. Remember that for the imperative we don't have first person, right? We don't have I. So we begin with you. Okay, so again we will recycle the ending for the imperative, right? There. And we just replace it with the root of the verb we are conjugating, the verb vivir, okay? Viv, 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 and vivir. Today I want to show you an expression in Spanish that can have a meaning that's not the literal meaning of the words. For example, como loco means like crazy, literally, okay? So, como means like or as, right? It's like for comparing. Loco is crazy. But same as in English, very similarly, como loco or like crazy can mean a lot or in a rush, yes? So I want to show you these sentences and later compare them with these below on how, with a very slight difference in the spelling, how the connotation or the meaning can change, okay? So let's begin with this one here. We say, ayer corrió como loco, right? Yesterday he ran or she ran like crazy. Ayer corrió como loco. This means yesterday he ran a lot, right? Like crazy in the sense of a lot. This is very similar to the English, yeah? Comí como loco. Comí como loco. I ate like crazy. I ate a lot, right? Trabajé como loco. Trabajé como loco. I worked like crazy. I worked a lot, right? Ellos viven como locos. Ellos viven como locos. They live like crazy. Here, this would actually mean that they live in a rush, right? They're always rushing and in a hurry and running from one place to another. So that's the connotation of this sentence when you say they live like crazy. Ellos viven como locos. Or vivo como loco. I'm always in a rush. Tengo que estudiar como loco. Tengo que estudiar como loco. I have to study like crazy, right? Now, look how the connotation, right, can change if we add this article, this indeterminate article, right? Uno, right? That means a. Here we are saying, corrió como un loco. He ran like a crazy, or like a crazy person, right? Like a crazy man. Corrió como un loco. He ran as if he were crazy, or as if he were a crazy person. Here it has a connotation more in the sense of madness, of crazy, right? Not so much in the sense of a lot or in a rush, although it can also be. But here, adding this, you're being a bit more specific in the sense of craziness, right? Comí como un loco. Comí como un loco. I ate as a madman. Trabajé como un loco. Trabajé como un loco. I worked like a madman. Ellos viven como unos locos. Ellos viven como unos locos. They live as madmen, or as if they were mad people, right? While in English, you can omit the article, right? If you're referring to a plural, right? In Spanish, no, you cannot. So the plural for un is unos, right? Of course, this is for masculine, right? If it were feminine, if it were locas, mad women, locas, this would be unas locas. But since this is locos, masculine, it's unos locos, okay? Tengo que estudiar como un loco. I have to study like a madman. Okay? So this is wanted to show you how como loco can have a different meaning, right, or a different connotation just by adding the article here. And this expression, this como loco, same as in English, it's very, very used, right, in colloquial language. However, of course, you won't use it academically, but in everyday life, in the street, in a chat, in a conversation, it's very much used, right? So this is all, and I'll see you next time. Today we will learn the verb tener que, or actually it's a, I don't know if it's a phrasal verb or it's an expression, but it's the verb tener together with the word que, right? And it has a meaning totally different than each one of both words separately, okay? So let's see. Tengo que means I have to, okay? However, the verb tener, just alone, by itself, means to have, right? So, yo tengo un lápiz, I have a pencil, okay? But if I say tengo que ir, that means I have to go, right? So look, tener means to have. The word que means that. So que is a conjunctive word, right? We've seen it many times before. So for example, él dijo que sí. He said that yes, or that something, okay? Tener que means to have to. Let's take a look at these examples here, right? To understand how this is used. Tengo hambre. Tengo que comer. So here we have two sentences, right? In the first sentence, tengo is a verb, is alone, right? It has this meaning. This meaning. It is the verb to have, right? Tengo hambre means I have hunger. Remember that in Spanish, we don't say I am hungry, we say I have hunger, right? Same thing with thirsty. We don't say I am thirsty, we say I have thirst, right? So, tengo hambre is I am hungry, or I have hunger, right? Here, however, tengo que is the second usage of tener, right? So, tengo que comer. I have to eat, right? Comer is to eat. So remember that when we use tengo que or I have to, later comes the verb in infinitive, right? And why is that? Why is the verb in infinitive? Because the conjugation already is here, right? Tengo. Tengo means verb to have, conjugated in present tense for the first person, for I, right? So, tengo que comer means I have to eat, right? So, therefore, the verb to eat, comer, doesn't need to be conjugated. It's just in infinitive, right? Let's see second example. Tengo sueño. Tengo que dormir. Sueño means sleepiness, right? So this would be I am sleepy, right? But in Spanish we don't say I am sleepy, we say I have sleepiness, right? So sueño means sleepiness. Sueño also has another meaning. Sueño also means dream, right? A dream or dreams, right? But sueño in this case means sleepiness. I have sleepiness or I am sleepy. Tengo que dormir. I have to sleep, right? Dormir is to sleep. And as we said before, since tengo is already conjugated, right? In this case, into the first person, present tense. Then dormir goes in infinitive, right? Tengo que dormir means I have to sleep. Tengo que trabajar. I have to work, right? Tienes que ir a trabajar. Tienes que ir a trabajar. You have to go to work, right? So while here it's shorter. Tengo que trabajar. I have to work. Here is tienes que ir a trabajar. You have to go to work. And here, see that again. Trabajar, the verb goes in infinitive, right? Because tienes is already conjugated. Here, the conjugation is in present tense again, but it is conjugated for the second person of the singular. That means for you, tú. So this would be the same as saying tú tienes que ir a trabajar. You have to go to work. You have to go, this is go to work. Okay? No tienes que hacerlo. Here we have a negative sentence. No tienes que hacerlo means not have to do it, right? This would be do in infinitive, and this would be the it, right? Hacerlo, do it, right? So again, here the verb tener is conjugated in present tense for the second person of the singular, for you, tú. So the verb hacer, to do, is in infinitive, right? So not have to do it, okay? Or you don't have to do it, right? Remember that when we are using tener que, and if we want to negate, we put the negating word, the no, before, right? ¿Por qué lo hiciste? ¿Por qué means why. These are two words. One word is por, second word is que. These two words together mean why. ¿Por qué lo hiciste? Why it you did, right? Hiciste means to do, but in past tense for the second person of the singular. That means for you, tú. So hiciste means you did it, right? Or you did. Here, this would be the it. So, why it you did? Or why do you do it? Right? And the answer is porque tenía que hacerlo. Because I had to do it. Take a look here. The word for because, porque, is just one single word, while the word for why, por qué, is two words, and the que has a tilde here, right? And the word for because is one single word. It's all together and has no tilde in the e. Okay? So that's the difference between why and because. Why? Because. Because I had to do it. Again, tenía, now, tenía que, right? This is from tener que, have to have to. Here, tenía is conjugated in past and in first person of the singular, right? I, yo. So, because I had to do it. The verb to do, hacer, is in infinitive, right? Hacer. And here we have lo, the word it, for it, right? Only that hacerlo is all together. It gets added as a suffix for the verb in infinitive, right? So word by word translation, this would be because I had to, right? I had to do it. Actually, it's today in our lesson we will see some names of means of transportation in Spanish. So means of transportation is called medios de transporte. Medios de transporte. So medios means means, okay? Actually, medio, the word medio without the s means middle of something. But here, medios is also used like means of something. Okay, transporte means transport or transportation. Here we have just the most common of the means of transportation. So let's look at these. Auto or carro. Auto or carro. This is the word for car in Spanish. Depending on the country, they can use the word auto or the word carro. Carro actually specifically means a cart, something that is carrying objects, okay? But in many countries, carro is the word used for a car. And the word auto is a short form of automóvil, okay? Same as in English. Automobile. Automóvil would be the full word for auto. Then we have motorcycle. Moto would be the short form, moto. And motocicleta would be the word for motorcycle, motocicleta. For bus, we have the short form, which is bus, or we have the full word omnibus. Omnibus, yes? Omnibus. Now that we have this word omnibus, I'll teach you one thing. This is one small rule of the tildes. You see that this has 3 syllables, yes? Omnibus. The accent is in the third starting from the last, right? All the Spanish words whose accent is in the third syllable starting from the last one, 1, 2, 3, yes? All those need to carry a tilde here, right? So omnibus, since it's a case, carries a tilde on the O, right? Okay. Camioneta means a van, right? Bigger than a car. A van, a camioneta. A camión is a truck. Camión. Then we have, for bicycle, we have the short form, bici, that would be a bike, and bicicleta, that is the bicycle, bicicleta. Avión is airplane, avión. Helicóptero is helicopter. And take a look, again, helicóptero. Let's see the syllables. Helicóptero. And the accent of the word helicóptero is in the third syllable starting from the last one. 1, 2, 3. Cóptero. So it needs to carry a tilde on the O, right? The word for ship is barco. 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 For a ship. A boat, which is a smaller ship, right? Or actually a boat can be something more generic, can be a canoe, a kayak, everything smaller is a boat, right? Bote. Of course we also have all the individual names like kayak, canoa, and all those, right? But all those smaller ones are botes, right? Bote is a boat. And for a yacht we have yate, right? Y-A-T-E. Y-A-T-E. Yate for a yacht. And we have a cruise, would be crucero. Crucero. Okay? Crucero is a cruise. We have tractor, which is a tractor. Tractor. Actually, this is not a means of transportation, but a working tool, right? But still, it's a vehicle, so I included there. Okay, I guess these are the most common words for means of transportation. Okay, then we have the streets, the sidewalks, the traffic lights. We'll see that later. Okay, so in our next class I want to show you some sentences using some of these words, okay, so we can see how the Spanish sentences are structured and we can use these words. Our last class we learned the names of some of the most used means of transportation in Spanish. Now we will see some sentences using those names, right? And we will see some few that I had forgotten to write down in the last class. So let's begin with the first sentence. Juan va a trabajar en auto. Juan va a trabajar en auto. This means Juan goes to work by car. Okay? Auto can also be carro. So we can also say Juan va a trabajar en carro. Okay? A mí me gusta ir a pie. A mí me gusta ir a pie. This means I like to go on foot. But when we say I like, the verb for I like is me gusta, gustar, okay? But when we say that somebody likes something, gustar is a reflexive verb, okay? This means that how we use the verb gustar would be like this. Like myself, okay? Something like that. So, to myself. This means, to me, I like going on foot, okay? So, take a look at this. When we say on foot, the same as in English we say on foot and not by foot. In Spanish we say a pie. A pie, on foot. Also, we say on horseback instead of by horseback. Here, a caballo, okay? And for the other means of transportation, like all these motorized, we say en, sorry, let me use red, en auto, okay? En subte, en tranvía, okay? No, this is not the case. Okay. All the other means of transportation is en, and when we say on foot or on horseback is a, like here, right? Same as in English we have by and on, in Spanish we have en and a, okay? Our third example is José, and I forgot the tilde for José. Without that tilde, the word would read José, but the name is José, okay? José va en subte. José goes by subway. Subte is the short form for the word subterráneo. Subterráneo, okay? Another word for subte is metro, okay? As like the metro. Esta noche tengo que tomar un tren. Esta noche tengo que tomar un tren. This means tonight. Esta noche means this night. So tonight I have to take a train. Okay? Remember that in Spanish we omit usually the pronoun because the verb already indicates the subject. So the pronoun that is implied is the pronoun yo or I. Okay? In English we cannot omit it. We cannot omit I. La semana que viene tomaré un avión a Madrid. La semana que viene tomaré un avión a Madrid. This means next week. Yes. La semana que viene. All this means next week. Right? Let's translate it word by word. The week that comes. The week that comes, or the following week, right? I will take, this is a future tense of the verb tomar, to take. I will take a plane to Madrid. Inés va al liceo en tranvía. Inés va al liceo en tranvía. This means Inés is a feminine given name in Spanish. Goes to high school by tram. Okay, tranvía is tram. En el campo me desplazo a caballo. En el campo me desplazo a caballo. This means campo is the land or the countryside, okay? So in the countryside I move around by horse, okay? Actually, this is not the word I, you can see, right? The word I, the pronoun, is already implied in desplazo as well. I always repeat. Me means myself, because in Spanish this is a reflexive verb. I move myself around. That's how you use this verb, okay? Unless you want to refer to moving something, an object, okay? Then you don't, it's not reflexive, it's transitive. Mis tíos dejaron la camioneta en el estacionamiento. Mis tíos dejaron la camioneta en el estacionamiento. This means my uncles left the van in the parking lot, or in the parking, right? Estacionamiento. This word means parking. The parking lot, where we park the cars. Creo que me robaron la bicicleta. Creo que me robaron la bicicleta. Creo means I think. Again, the word for I, yo, is implied, right? We can say yo creo, but we omit the yo because it's not necessary. I think that they robbed to me the bicycle. Okay? The pronoun they is already implied in the conjugation of the verb robaron. Robaron means to rob. Actually, this is robbed because this is conjugated in simple past. So, I think that they robbed me, or to me, the bicycle, right? Creo que me robaron la bicicleta. So, one thing that is important to remember here is that for all the means of transportation we say voy en auto, voy en ómnibus, okay? I go by car, I go by bus. And for going on foot and going on horseback, right, or a pie or a caballo, we use a, the word a, okay? Same as in English, we say I'm going on foot, I'm going on horseback, right? So by and on, in Spanish we have in and a, right? So that's all for today, and I see you in next class. In today's Spanish lesson, I will show you the names of the animals in Spanish, okay? We will just see the most common names, the most common animals, okay? We have, the title is Nombres de Animales. Nombres de Animales. This is names of animals, right? Categorías o reinos animales. These are categories or animal kingdoms. Reino means kingdom. We won't see all the kingdoms, all the animal kingdoms, nor all the categories, right? Just some few that are the most used ones, okay? Animales domésticos are the domestic animals, like the dogs, the cats. Animales domésticos. And animales salvajes are the wild animals. The most common animal, when we think of an animal, is a dog, right? So, perro is dog, gato, cat, caballo, horse. Let's write down the articles, or let's mark the articles. Let's see. Perro is masculine, okay? It's el perro. Gato is masculine. It's el gato. Caballo is masculine. El caballo. Burro is also masculine. It's el burro. Burro is donkey, right? Rabbit is conejo, which is also a masculine word. It's el conejo. A hen is gallina. Gallina, you see it ends in an A. It's a feminine word. Feminine. La gallina. For rooster, of course, it has to be a masculine, right? El gallo, the rooster. And pollo is also masculine. Pollo is chicken. It is el pollo. For sheep, as you can see, it ends in an A, so it is a feminine. It's la oveja, feminine noun. La oveja. And the lamb is cordero, which is a masculine word, el cordero. Also, cordero means mutton, right? So, cordero is lamb and mutton. El cordero. Cow, of course, it's a feminine, la vaca. La vaca. And obviously, the bull is a masculine, right? El toro. El toro. For pig, we have also a masculine word. It is el chancho or el cerdo. Actually, pig is the word that has the animal that has more synonyms, because chancho or pig can be chancho, cerdo, cochino, puerco, okay? So I know these 4 words that mean pig. They are all masculine. So chancho, cerdo are just 2 words for pig. Pez is a fish. El pez, it's a masculine. And pez, listen to this. Pez only refers to a living fish, okay? When the fish is dead, or when, for example, we are going to order some fish to eat, we don't say pez, we say pescado. Pescado. Okay, it's also a masculine word. El pescado. So this is the dead fish, for example, the one we eat, pescado, and this is the living fish, the one that is in the water, okay, pez. And the plurals would be, for this one, for pescado, pescados, and for pez, peces. These are fish in plural, peces. Squid is calamar. Calamar. It's a masculine, so it's el calamar. The shrimp is slightly similar. It's camarón. And it is also a masculine. All the words that end in on are no, not all, sorry. But most of them, like camarón, is a masculine. Tiburón, a shark, is also masculine. El tiburón. Ballena is a whale. Of course, ending in A is feminine. La ballena. And the dolphin is delfín. El delfín, masculine. And the last one in our list is a bird. We can say pájaro. Sorry, I forgot the tilde here. Pájaro or ave. These are synonyms for bird. Pájaro and ave. These are two words that mean the same thing. And they are masculine, both of them. El pájaro. No, sorry. This one is masculine. The first one. El pájaro, and this is feminine. Feminine. However, since la ave, we would have these two A's, right? La ave. When most of the cases, when we have the words, almost all the cases, when we have a feminine word that begins with A, in the singular, we use the masculine article. So this would be el ave, but in plural we would say las aves, okay? So this is a particular case, and mostly all of the words, feminine words that start with an A, we use el for the singular, okay? The masculine article. Okay, here you see I had to add the tilde in pájaro. If I omit the tilde here, this would read pájaro, pájaro, but this is actually pájaro. Okay? Later on I will teach you the rules for the tildes, when and how they are used, okay? So these are the words of animals I wanted to teach you. We are missing actually some insects, of course. And in our next lesson I will show you some sentences using some of these words. In this lesson, before going to the sentences I promised in the previous class, I want to show you some few other words I had missed in the previous class. So some insects and some few animals, very common ones, right? And also I want to speak about the case of the feminine nouns that begin with A, okay? That is a special case that I will speak of at the end, okay? So let's see. For snake or serpent we have víbora or serpiente. These are feminine words, okay? La víbora or la serpiente. Both are feminine. The word for reptile is reptil. Snakes and serpents are reptiles. right? Reptiles. So reptil is masculine. El reptil for singular, los reptiles for plural. The word for insect is insecto. Insecto. It's a masculine word. So it is el insecto or los insectos for the insects. Among the insects, the most common ones are a fly, right? The flies. These are mosca. It's la mosca. It's easy to say because you see that mosca ends with an A, so it has to be a feminine noun. Mosquito is el mosquito, so it is a masculine. It ends in O. El mosquito. An ant is hormiga, and as you can tell, it's a feminine noun. La hormiga. And the anthole is masculine. It's el hormiguero. Right? Masculine word. El hormiguero or los hormigueros for the antholes. Hormiguero. This last word, the eagle, I'll use it as an example of what I wanted to explain about the feminine nouns that begin with an A. Okay? Águila means eagle. Águila. Águila is one of the many feminine words, feminine nouns that begin with an A, right? The article for the feminine nouns is la. Okay? La is the determined article for feminine nouns. So the eagle would be la águila, okay? Or that's what we suppose should be. However, since here we would have two A's that would not sound well, la águila, then for most of these words, these feminine nouns that begin with an A, we use the masculine singular article, okay? So when we want to say an eagle, we say el águila, right? El águila. However, when we say the plural of eagle, the eagles, we switch to feminine, las águilas, because actually águila is a feminine noun. However, in the plural, since we have the S in between of the two A's, then it doesn't sound awkward when we say las águilas, right? That's why it switches back to feminine article here. So, el águila, las águilas. And this this is the same with almost all the feminine nouns that begin with A, right? The only noun that begins with A in the Spanish language that I could think of, and that is an exception to this rule, is the word aceituna. Aceituna. Aceituna means olive, right? Olive. Olive. Aceituna is feminine, a feminine noun. However, we use the feminine singular article, la aceituna. We don't say el aceituna. So we say la aceituna and las aceitunas for the plural, okay? I don't know if there is another exception like this one in the Spanish language, but so in principle I would say that excepting this word, perhaps all the other nouns that are feminine and begin with an A, like águila, for example, use the masculine article, right? When singular, like el águila. So this is the end of the lesson, and next time I will show you some sentences using some of the animals. I have some few sentences using some of the words for animals that we learned in the previous classes. So the blue sentences are the Spanish ones that I want you to start assimilating, and the black ones are the translations in English, although some are not word-by-word translations as I would prefer, but I'll try to also do the word-by-word translation so you can understand the meaning of each word, okay? So the first one is: El perro ladró toda la noche sin parar. El perro ladró toda la noche sin parar. This means the dog barked the whole night non-stop, okay? So, toda la noche means the whole night, right? Noche means night. Actually, this would mean literally, all the night, right? So it means the whole night. Ladró is the simple past tense for the verb ladrar, that means to bark, and it is conjugated for the third person of the singular, for the it, right? The dog is an it or a he, right? Sin parar means without stopping. Parar means to stop. Sin means without, right? So we can translate sin parar as non-stop. Los mosquitos me picaron la noche entera. Los mosquitos me picaron la noche entera. The mosquitoes bit me the whole night. La noche entera means the same thing as toda la noche, right? So these two phrases are synonyms, and they mean the same thing, the whole night. If we translate this one word by word, this one would be all the night, and this one would be the night full, or the night whole, right? Both phrases translate as the whole night. Me picaron, we translate it as bit me, right? Me would be the me, to me. But picar is actually to sting, yes? Because the verb for biting is morder, while this is the verb picar. In Spanish, we say that the mosquitoes sting, they don't bite, okay? So, me picaron la noche entera. Cuidado con el gato, porque araña. Cuidado con el gato, porque araña. Cuidado means beware, watch out, right? It's we are warning somebody. Cuidado is a warning. Watch out with the cat because it scratches, right? This is the literal word-by-word translation. I know that in English you wouldn't say because it scratches, you would say because it may scratch you, right? But I wanted to show you the word-by-word translation. The it is implicit in the conjugation araña, that means scratches, right? Remember that in Spanish the pronoun usually we can omit it because it's implicit here in the verb. And I wanted to tell you the verb araña means, araña is present tense for arañar. That means to scratch. But araña as a noun means a spider, right? So Spider-Man is el hombre araña, right? But now we are not using the word araña in the sense of the noun spider. We are using it as the verb arañar, which means to scratch. Another way of saying the same thing is cuidado con el gato que araña, right? This would be like saying, watch out with a cat that it scratches. Watch out with the cat that, que means that. Araña, it scratches, as we saw before. Right? In English it doesn't make any sense. Watch out with a cat that it scratches, right? But it would be like saying, watch out with a cat lest it scratches you. Okay? And I said that the word que means that. However, don't get confused with this other word que with a tilde, right? This is a different word that means what, right? What and that. Two different words. Cierra la puerta porque entran moscas. Close the door because get in flies. Or close the door because flies get in, right? Cierra la puerta porque entran moscas. Close the door because flies get in. Or close the door lest flies get in. Cierra is present tense for the verb cerrar, which means to close the door because come in or get in, right? This is from the verb entrar, that means to get in or to come in. Moscas is the plural for flies, for a fly, mosca. And the second sentence here means the same as the previous one. It's a synonym. Cierra la puerta que entran moscas. Cierra la puerta que entran moscas. Close the door that come in flies. Or close the door that flies come in. It doesn't make much sense in English, right? So it would be like saying close the door lest flies get in, or close the door because flies get in, right? But you can see how in Spanish we can say the same thing with these two words, okay? This que is the word that in English. Our last sentence is: para ver animales salvajes hay que ir al zoológico. Para ver animales salvajes hay que ir al zoológico. Para would be like saying to or in order to, okay? Para has two meanings. Para can mean for somebody, right? Para ti, for you. Para él, for him. And para, in this case, has another meaning that means in order to, right? So, in order to see wild animals, you have to go to the zoo. So the word to the zoo is al, because al is a short form, sorry, not short form, it's the abbreviation of a el, right? To the a el. However, we don't speak a el, we always abbreviate it Al, okay? Al zoológico, to the zoo. Ir is the verb to go in infinitive, right? Hay que means have to. You have to, we have to, so it's generic. Hay que is very generic. This is our lesson number 121. Ways of greeting in Spanish. In this lesson I will show you the most common ways of greeting in Spanish. We will see the formal ways of greeting and the informal ways of greeting. Hola or hello is the most frequent way of saying hi, the most used, and can be used for formal or informal. Hola. Buen día means good morning. Buen día. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Buenas noches. Good evening or good night. In Spanish, there is not two different ways of greeting for good evening and good night. So, buenas noches is used when we say hi, when we greet somebody hi or goodbye in the evening, and also when we say good night when somebody's going to sleep. Que tengas un buen día. You have a good day. Que tengas un buen día. This is the informal way of wishing somebody a good day. What shows us that it is informal is that the verb you have, tengas, has an S at the end, and this shows us that it is conjugated for the subject pronoun you, but the informal you. In Spanish, we have a formal you, that is usted. Usted is formal for you, but it conjugates the same as he or she, so the conjugation changes. Que tenga un buen día. This is the formal way of wishing somebody you have a good day. Que tenga un buen día. You can see there is an S less here in the verb que tengas. The formal pronoun usted in Spanish is used when we address somebody we are not acquainted with. That is, when we are greeting somebody in the street or in a shop, somebody we do not know, we are not acquainted with, or also somebody that is hierarchically superior to us, or somebody that is much older than us and with whom we are not related, right? It's also a way of keeping distance. For example, if we have a boss and that boss wants to keep a distance from his subordinates, he will require to be addressed in the formal way. So we have to address him as usted and not as tú. Buenas. This is an informal way of greeting somebody for any time of the day. Buenas means good, but buenas is an incomplete sentence because buenas is still lacking the word that follows, either buen día, buenas tardes, or buenas noches. So buenas is incomplete, implying that it can be any time of the day. So it can be used for in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night, usually for saying hi, not for saying goodbye, but it is informal. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? ¿Cómo estás? This is informal, as you can see, because the verb estar finishes with S. It is conjugated for the informal you, tú. ¿Cómo está? Or ¿Cómo está usted? How are you? And this is the formal way. In Spanish, the verb already has implicit the subject pronoun. So the conjugation of the verb can show us who is the subject. That's why in Spanish we can choose to say or to omit the subject pronoun, okay? So, ¿cómo está? Or ¿cómo está usted? Are both correct and they mean the same thing. Chao, bye. Chao means exactly bye, and it is used exactly the same. It is the most frequent way of greeting somebody bye. Ciao ciao also means bye bye. Adios, goodbye. The same as in English, adios is a bit more formal than ciao, but also has the connotation of a more permanent bye. So we usually say adios to somebody we think we might not meet very soon. Hasta la próxima. Hasta la próxima means I see you next time, or literally until the next one. Hasta la vista means the same thing, but a little bit different. It literally means until the seeing, or until we meet again. Hasta luego. Hasta luego is one of the most common ways of greeting. It means I see you later. Hasta luego. Hasta pronto. Hasta pronto means I see you soon. Literally, hasta pronto means until soon. ¿Cómo ha estado? How have you been? This is the formal way, because the verb haber, that here is conjugated a, is conjugated for usted. ¿Cómo has estado? This is the informal way of saying how have you been. This is conjugated for the informal you. ¿Cómo has estado? Has is the verb haber conjugated for tú. ¿Cómo ha pasado? ¿Cómo ha pasado? Means the same as ¿Cómo ha estado? Which means how have you been? Formal. Nos vemos. This means until we meet next time, or until we meet again. Literally, nos vemos means we see each other. Now we have two more greetings that are more dramatic greetings, and they are not very much used. They are not so frequent. These are hasta siempre. Hasta siempre literally means until always, and we use it when we want to greet somebody or something that we wish or hope to repeat frequently, or somebody that we want to meet very often, or more likely a situation, although it's not a frequent way of speaking. Its opposite would be hasta nunca. Hasta nunca implies or has the connotation of something that we wish or hope not to see ever again. Literally, it means until never. Therefore, it is very rude and unlikely to be used to greet a person. So usually, in this lesson I will teach you how to say I like, right? There is a different way of structuring the phrase I like, she likes, we like in Spanish, okay? It's a bit more complex, but it's once you learn it, it's very simple, it's very easy, it just repeats itself. So let's take a look at this. Phrase of the day, me gusta, right? Which literally means I like, right? Then the predicate can go after me gusta, any predicate we want. For example, I like apples. Me gustan las manzanas, right? So, first of all, me gusta doesn't use the pronoun, the subject pronoun I, right? If we translate to Spanish, I like, we would say yo gusto, right? But that doesn't mean anything in Spanish. The structure is quite different. A mí me gusta would be I like. A ti te gusta would mean you like. A él le gusta or a ella le gusta, he likes or she likes. A nosotros nos gusta means we like. A vosotros os gusta would be you like, right? You plural in the way it is spoken in Spain. A ustedes les gusta means the same thing, you like, plural, but as it is spoken in Latin America. And a ellos les gusta means they like, okay? Then you can add whatever predicate you want. For example, they like apples. A ellos les gustan las manzanas, right? First of all, let me specify that if the object we are referring to when we say I like, if it is singular, then we say me gusta. And if it is plural, we have to add an N, me gustan, right? All verbs, all Spanish verbs in plural add an N at the end, okay? Same as the Spanish nouns add an S for the plural, the Spanish verbs, when in the plural, they add an N, like here, okay? Now look at this. Why have I written this, the first part of the sentence, between brackets? Because this actually can be omitted and is usually omitted when we speak and when we write, right? Why? Because, as I mentioned before, the subject pronoun, the subject is already implied in the verb, in the conjugation of the verb, right? So, what does this first part mean? Let me translate word by word. This first word means to. To me, myself like, right? So, if I want to say, a mí me gustan las manzanas, that would be, I like apples. Literally or word by word, this will translate like this. To me, myself like apples, right? Or the apples. Yes? To him, himself likes apples, right? So it sounds complicated, but that's the structure of how we use the verb to like in Spanish, okay? So it is just this. You need to memorize these 6 or 7 forms, right, for each one of the subject pronouns, for each one of the persons. Once you learn this, it's easy because it just repeats itself, okay? Always remember as well that Spanish verbs also turn singular or plural, and when the verb is plural, it adds an N, right? That means when the verb is referring to a noun or an object that is plural, okay? The example I just gave you is I like apples, okay? Since apples is plural, then the verb like is referring to a plural object. In Spanish, it would add an N, right, at the end of the verb, okay? So, the full form of saying I like something in Spanish would be a mí me gusta, a ti te gusta, a él le gusta, a nosotros nos gusta, a vosotros os gusta, a ustedes les gusta, and a ellos les gusta. However, we usually omit all this first part that is between the brackets because it is redundant. It is correct to include it, it is correct to exclude it, right? To omit it. And for simplicity, it is usually omitted in written as well as in speech, right? So we would say me gusta, te gusta, le gusta, nos gusta, os gusta, les gusta, and les gusta. So how, if we omit this first part, how can we know what subject it is referred to? Because of this. Me refers to, like me in English, refers to the first person of the singular, to me, to yo, right? I. Te refers to tú, you, second person. Le can refer, le only refers to he or to her, to he or to she, okay? So, le gusta, I immediately know to what subject or what person it is referring to. Nos gusta, pay attention at the letter N. The letter N from nosotros or we, very easy to recognize which is the person. Os gusta, os is always you plural, right? The second person of the plural. And les gusta can either be ustedes, that is a you plural used in Latin America, or ellos, which means they, okay? So, we can perfectly omit this first part that is in between brackets and say I like something, me gusta, te gusta. For example, they like oranges. Les gustan, remember oranges is plural, les gustan las naranjas. Okay? So, let's end our lesson here, and in our next class I would like to show you some sentences using this, and I hope that will help you to register that a bit better in your mind. In our previous class I showed you how to use the phrase I like, he likes, or she likes in Spanish, right? Which is me gusta, le gusta, te gusta, or a mí me gusta, a ti te gusta, a él le gusta, okay? So we talked about that, and now I will show you some examples with sentences so we can see how this is used, okay? And also I will show you how easy it is to also to use this phrase in negative and in question sentences, okay? So let's begin with the first sentence. A mí, what is it between brackets, we can omit it, right? We can actually say it or not say it, and it's correct. A mí no me gusta hablar mucho. A mí no me gusta hablar mucho. Or we can also say, we can omit the first part and just say, no me gusta hablar mucho. This means, I don't like to talk much, right? The word-by-word translation would be, to me, not myself like to talk much, right? So this, unfortunately, is the complicated structure of saying I like something, okay, or I don't like something. So if we just change the order of the word much, or mucho, we'll see how the meaning changes, right? A mí no me gusta mucho hablar, or simply no me gusta mucho hablar. This means I don't like very much to talk, right? So the first one is I don't like to talk much, and the second one is I don't like very much to talk. So in the first case, mucho or much refers to talking, right? To the fact, the verb to talk. In the second example, the word mucho or much is referred to me gusta or I like, right? So here I don't very much like, and here it is to talk much, right? Let's go to the third example. A Juan no le gusta jugar a los naipes. Naipes are cards, the cards for playing cards, okay? So, a Juan no le gusta jugar a los naipes. We could say simply, we can omit a Juan and just say no le gusta jugar a los naipes. He doesn't like to play cards. But then we are omitting a piece of information, right? We are omitting the name of the person who does not like to play cards, okay? So it's like saying Juan doesn't like to play cards, or simply he doesn't like to play cards, okay? This word by word means to Juan not himself like to play to the cards, right? Or at the cards. Or simply, Juan doesn't like to play cards. The verb to play cards, right, in Spanish is jugar. Jugar means to play. A los naipes, okay? Naipes or cartas means playing cards, right? Only that the word cartas also means letters, right? A letter that we write to somebody. That is also carta or cartas. But cartas also mean the playing cards. Naipes just means the playing cards, okay? So remember, when we talk about playing cards, we say jugar a los naipes or a las cartas. Okay? So take a look at this. When we are using here negative sentences, right? You see that the negation word no or the not always goes before the me gusta or le gusta, right? So if we are using the short form, it would go at the beginning, right? Before the le gusta or me gusta. If we are using the long form, a Juan, a mí, right? Then we use a mí, right? All this part that we can omit. Then comes the no, and then the le gusta or me gusta, whatever, okay? A mi perro le gusta jugar en el jardín. A mi perro le gusta jugar en el jardín. Remember, perro is dog, jugar is to play, jardín is garden, okay? So this means my dog likes to play in the garden. Let's see, word by word translation. To my dog himself likes to play in the garden. Okay? It's always the same structure for using for the I like, right? The I like structure. A mi perro. You see it's a like here. Everywhere a. And then you have the subject, right? Juan or me. Okay? But this is always the part that we can omit. We can simply say, le gusta jugar en el jardín. But then we are omitting information that can be useful, right? If we just say, le gusta jugar en el jardín, it's like saying he or it likes to play in the garden. But we are not specifying who is it. It's the dog, okay? If we want to convert this in a negation, in a negative sentence, we would add the no, the word no, or not, where? Here, right? Here we would add the word no. And we would say, a mi perro no le gusta jugar en el jardín. Or simply, no le gusta jugar en el jardín. He doesn't like to play in the garden. Okay. Let's see, here we have a question sentence. ¿Te gusta la lluvia? ¿Te gusta la lluvia? Do you like the rain? Or do you like rain? This means, do you like the rain? Right? Or we can also ask the same thing in the negative. Don't you like the rain? Or don't you like it? ¿No te gusta? Remember, you see the no always goes before the te gusta, right? Like here, like here, like here, and like here. ¿No te gusta? We can also add the predicate, right? ¿No te gusta la lluvia? Don't you like it? Or don't you like the rain? You see that in English, when we say don't you like it, we have to add the it, because in English we can never omit the subject. But in Spanish, since the subject is implied in the conjugation of the verb, we can simply say no te gusta. We don't say no te gusta and the it, right? No te gusta él or ella. We just say no te gusta. We can, however, add this part, right? The first part, we can say, a ti no te gusta. Same as here. A ti te gusta la lluvia? Or a ti no te gusta? Right? But usually, since this part will be redundant, because we are not adding any important information, we are not adding a name, right? Then usually, or I would say always, it is omitted and we just say te gusta la lluvia or no te gusta. Our next sentence is, ¿a quién le gustan las manzanas? ¿A quién le gustan las manzanas? This means, who likes apples? The word quién means who, right? The word quién, meaning who, always carries a tilde here in the I, on top of the letter I. Manzanas, as you know, is apples. Since the verb to like is referring to a plural object, then the verb becomes plural, right? As we mentioned in the previous class. So it adds an N. And this is common with all the verbs in Spanish. All the verbs, when they refer to a plural noun or a plural object, the verbs become plural themselves and they add an N. Okay? So, this word by word will mean to who it or they like the apples, or to who the apples are likable, to whom the apples are likable, right, would be the actual translation from Spanish to English, okay? ¿A quién le gustan las manzanas? Who like apples? Who likes apples? Okay? Here, since quién is singular, right? Although quién can refer to plural, but quién is a singular word, then le is singular. If it were plural, it would add an s, les. But in this case, it is singular. We can say the same sentence in the negative, right? Like in our last sentence, and just say, ¿a quién no le gustan las manzanas? Who doesn't like apples, or who does not like apples? So the word-by-word translation would be, to whom not them like the apples, right? Or to whom apples are not likable, right? ¿A quién no le gustan las manzanas? But as you can see, it's always the same structure, right? We have the a here, a, then the person or the subject, in this case it's a who, right? We are asking who, so the who would be the subject here, or the person, then the no, the not, or the no, because it's a negative question, and then le gustan, right? Like here. So if we omit the first part, as in all the previous examples, say we omit this first part, and we will just say, ¿no le gustan las manzanas? Don't they like apples? Right? It's the same structure as here, as in the previous cases. Another thing, when we say, do you like apples or don't you like apples? The word apples is generic, right? We are talking apples in general. That's why we are not using an article. We don't say, don't you like the apples? Because if we use the article, we are speaking specifically of these apples, right? If we say, don't you like apples, we mean, don't you like apples in general? In Spanish, it's the other way around. In Spanish, we say, ¿no le gustan las manzanas? We need to use still the article, the definite article, determined article, and say the object in plural, right? To mean the generic or the abstract form, yes? So this is the end of the lesson, and I hope now it's clear how to use or how to say I like and how this is structured in Spanish. In this lesson we will learn the names of some of the fruits in Spanish, right? At least the most common and frequent fruits, the ones we usually find in the supermarket, okay? There are many more fruits, of course, but these at least are the ones that came to my mind now, that are the ones we usually see everywhere. So let's begin with the first one. Usually it's the apple, right? Manzana. Manzana is apple. We have these three syllables. Manzana. Pera for pear. Pera. Banana is banana. This one is almost all the languages in the world, I think it's the same word. Strawberry, we have two words. Fresa, fresa, which is the word used in Spain and many Latin American countries, and frutilla, which is used, at least that I know, in Uruguay and Argentina. Frutilla. Okay? Uvas are grapes. So one grape is una uva without the S. Uvas, the plural. For peach, again, we have two words. Melocotón, which is a word used in Spain and some other Latin American countries, and durazno, which is used in some other Latin American countries. Frambuesa is raspberry. A raspberry is una frambuesa. Blueberry is arándano. Pineapple has, again, two different words. We have piña, that is a word used in Spain and some other Latin American countries, and ananá, which is used in some other Latin American countries. So we have piña and ananá. For plums is ciruela. One plum is una ciruela. Orange is naranja. And same as in English, the word orange can mean the fruit or the color, right? Naranja can be the color or the fruit. Kiwi is the kiwi. This is exactly the same. The word for melon is melón. So it's the same, but we just changed the accentuation, okay, to the last syllable. It's melón. The word for watermelon is sandía. Sandía. Take a look at the tilde on the letter E that indicates that the accent is there on the letter I. Sandía. Remember that I in Spanish is I. And the letter E in Spanish is E. Mango is the same, mango. Mora is mulberry. Mora. For lime, the fruit lime, we have lima. And lemon is limón. Lima, limón. Lime, lemon. Tomate, tomato. And for avocado, we have again two words. Aguacate, used in Spain and some other few countries in Latin America, and palta, used in some other Latin American countries. So, aguacate and palta. These are the two words for avocado. So this is the end of our lesson with this new vocabulary related to the fruits. So later I will show you some vegetables and some other foods. In our last class I showed you the names of fruits in Spanish, and now I will show you the names of vegetables in Spanish, or at least the most common vegetables, the ones that we are usually acquainted with and the ones we find when we go to a store. So since I do not know much about cooking, I'll teach you just the vegetables I'm mostly acquainted with, okay? So the most common one is, as usual, lettuce, right? Lechuga. Lechuga means lettuce. Then we have cabbage, repollo. Remember the R in Spanish, when it begins in a word, it's R, right? The rough sound of the R. Repollo. Coliflor is cauliflower. Coliflor. Parsley is perejil. Perejil. Tomato, tomate. Tomate. Potato is papa, right? Different than the word papa, that means daddy or dad, right? The word papa has a tilde here in the last A, indicating that the accent is in the last syllable, papa. However, the word tomato has no tilde. That indicates us that the accent is in the first syllable. It's papa. Okay? Boniato is the sweet potato. Boniato. Carrot is zanahoria. Zanahoria. Turnip is nabo. Nabo is also used to, when we say that somebody is silly, we say that he is un nabo. He's a turnip, right? Nabo is the vegetable turnip, right? It's actually a root. Pumpkin is zapallo. Zapallo. And the globe squash is zapallito. Zapallito. Onion, cebolla. Cebolla. And ajo is garlic. Pay attention at the rough sound of the J, right? It's like an H in English, but much rougher, right? Ajo. Ajo. Spinach is espinaca. Espinaca. Broccoli is broccoli. The tilde is indicating us that we have to pronounce it broccoli and not broccoli. Leek is puerro. Puerro. The leek is that vegetable that tastes quite similar to the onion. Berro is watercress. So berro, see that when we have a double R in the middle of the word, it sounds like the rough R, the same as when it is at the beginning of a word. Rrr, you see? Berro, berro. And acelga is chard. Acelga. Acelga. 3 syllables. Okay, so these are the most common vegetables, at least the ones I can think of right now. Later I want to teach you some more words related to foods, right? Like meat and other words that may be useful for when we go shopping. In this lesson I will show you the names of many, these are not foods or more ingredients, right? But I want to show you as many of these food related words as possible. And these are not strange or weird words. All these are the most common and frequently used words when we talk about food, when we go and buy some food in the supermarket, okay? So none of these is weird. All these are the everyday words that we use. So I also remember this time to add the article, right? So you can know if they are feminine words or masculine words, okay? And we will start here with some categories. For example, el vegetal or los vegetales for the plural means vegetables, but vegetables in the sense of including fruits, including roots like potatoes, turnips, onions, sweet potatoes, and also spinach, lettuce, cauliflower, and all those, right? That is vegetal or vegetales. It's the widest, the broadest of all the categories, right, for vegetables. Then we have la verdura or las verduras for the plural. And these are also vegetables, but it's not so broad in its meaning, because this actually does not include the fruits, right? When we talk about verduras, we don't mean fruits like the sweet ones we use for dessert, for example, you know, like apples, oranges, plums, peaches, you know, that's not included when we talk about verduras. Then we have another category, even smaller, that is legumbres, or la legumbre for the singular. So legumbres are also vegetables, but these are the vegetables that are usually grown in vegetable gardens, right? Like spinach, like lettuce, okay, cauliflower, like cabbage, and those, okay? So you can see that these three translate as vegetables in English, but they have different meaning. This would be the first one being the broadest in meaning, then the second one, and then the third one, okay? And then we have the other category that is fruta or frutas. Let me write it down. Fruta or frutas means fruits, right? And fruits, you know what are fruits. Those usually the sweet ones, right? Okay, then we have la carne for the meat. La carne, you can see, is feminine. Los frutos de mar. This is seafood, okay? Seafood or frutos de mar is squid, shrimp, oysters, okay? Then we have el pescado, which means fish. But pescado means fish in the sense of the fish we eat, or the dead fish, right? When we talk about fish that is alive or that is in the sea, we do not say pescado, we say pez, right? Pez. This is the word for fish when it is alive, when it is free. And this is the word for fish when it has been fished. El frijol, or los frijoles, means beans. El churrasco, for steak. El asado, or la barbacoa, for barbecue. Actually, barbacoa can be the barbecue also in the sense of the place where we prepare the steak, the barbecue, right? While el asado just refers to the food, right? El pan, the bread, el pan. La tostada is the toast. La leche, the milk. El jugo, the juice. El refresco. El refresco is the soft drink. So refresco can be a Coca-Cola, a Sprite, right? Any bubbly drink. We have el azúcar for the sugar. La sal, the salt. El jarabe de arce for the maple syrup. Jarabe de arce. Arce is the tree, right? This is the maple tree, arce. Jarabe means syrup. El edulcorante, okay? This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 syllables. Edulcorante, the sweetener. El vino, for the wine. La manteca, butter. La miel, for the honey. Los copos de maíz, for the cornflakes. Copos de maíz. And salad in Spanish is ensalada. Ending in A, as you can see, it is a feminine word. So it is la ensalada, or las ensaladas for the plural, okay? This is the salad. Okay, so this is all I wanted to teach you for today. These are names of food in Spanish. And in our next class, I want to show you some sentences where we will be using these, some of these new words that we have just learned, okay? So by using them in sentences, not only we will register these words in our mind more efficiently, but also we will be able to start learning how the structure of the Spanish language works, okay?